Pipeline the Surf Coaster opened at SeaWorld Orlando in 2023 as the world's first B&M surf coaster. The surf coaster is a more modern take on the stand-up coaster, which quite a few people didn't like and found uncomfortable. The surf coaster worked to turn what was once a hated ride type into something people actually wanted to ride, and in my opinion it succeeded. A few weeks ago I visited SeaWorld Orlando and experienced this ride for the first time. I really enjoyed it, and it ended up being my favourite ride at the park, so in this video I'm going to be talking about why I like it, because I need an excuse to talk about this ride. So let's start by talking about the train, which looks really nice. It's shaped like a surfboard and it's orange with some red patterns and sea creatures included in the design. These sea creatures are a nice reference to two other rides at the park, Manta and Mako. The orange train looks great with the blue track and supports, and if you take a look at a colour wheel you can see blue and orange are complementary colours, which means they look good together and make the ride more visually appealing. The most important part of the train is of course the seats. The seats are able to move up and down during the ride as you move, which makes the ride experience more comfortable for riders. On another stand-up coaster I did, Shockwave at Drayton Manor, the seats didn't do this, which meant that whenever you lifted off the floor, you'd end up landing on the seat that was still in the same place, which was sometimes painful. Pipeline's moving seats meant that you didn't really leave the seat, it just moved up with you, and being able to move the seat down meant that you could bend your legs as you landed, which made the ride less likely to hurt your legs. Pipeline's moving seats definitely made the ride experience a lot more interesting because I've never experienced anything like it. In my opinion, these seats enhance the ride's airtime moments as well as making the ride more comfortable. On a normal ride, you can only get so much airtime before the restraints stop you from flying off into the distance, never to be seen again. While on Pipeline, the seats lift up with you, which means you were lifted even further into the air. The ride experience itself was really fun, featuring a launch, an inversion, and quite a few airtime moments. I didn't expect there to be that much airtime on Pipeline, but I was pleasantly surprised. I'd like to mention that when I was riding this coaster on the back row, I did notice that it was a little bit shaky. It wasn't painful or uncomfortable to me, but it was noticeable, though I didn't notice it on the rides I've had further forward on the train. Pipeline starts with a launch. The launch isn't overly fast and I don't find it that intense, but it's still an enjoyable element and makes the start of the ride a bit more interesting, rather than just having a lift hill. The inversion was also a really enjoyable element. I like experiencing inversion standing up, like I did with Shockwave at Drayton Manor, so it's no surprise I enjoyed Pipeline's inversion. At the bottom of this inversion there are some water effects, and even though it doesn't splash you, it does look nice from off-ride. After the inversion, Pipeline's layout was a couple of helixes and a few turns, which on other rides wouldn't be the most entertaining layout, but I think the stand-up trains managed to keep the ride interesting, so I don't really see it as an issue. The first half of the layout was better, but that doesn't mean the second half was bad. I think the second half of Pipeline's layout is what it is because Pipeline is the first surf coaster and this model hasn't yet reached its full potential. Like how Oblivion, the first dive coaster, only has a drop and an overbank turn as its layout, and other dive coasters added more elements and got better over time. So I'm excited to see what kind of elements and layouts any future surf coasters have and how they'll continue to improve. Unfortunately, Pipeline is on the other side of the world to me, so I'm hoping that another park a little bit closer to home builds a surf coaster, or I'll have another chance to visit SeaWorld Orlando and ride Pipeline again in the future. Overall, I really enjoyed riding Pipeline, and I think it's a great roller coaster. If you've been on Pipeline the surf coaster, let me know what you think in the comments, and if you're interested in roller coaster content, why not subscribe so that you can be notified when I next upload. Thanks for watching, bye!